Okay, so we have a new lawsuit, and with that comes some of the background information about how Blake Lively's lawsuit came to be in the first place.
Blake Lively is a lying liar who lies and gets caught. Honestly, at this point, I feel like there's really no need for a trial. Let Blake Lively keep talking, let the TikTok investigators keep on investigating, and she's gonna completely snitch on herself, as she already has done.
What is most important to Justin? The 400 million or some kind of, financial settlement to make up for maybe lost work? Has he lost work? Has he lost, people backed away from him for a future project?
A substantial amount of work.
Baldoni filed a lawsuit against his former publicist, Stephanie Jones.
Did Blake Lively really pressure a former assistant into leaking private messages? Hollywood has long been a world shrouded in mystery where power plays, hidden agendas, and career-defining secrets lurk behind the scenes. But every so often, a scandal breaks that sends shockwaves through the industry, prompting fans to question everything they thought they knew about their favorite stars. The latest controversy. It involves none other than Blake Lively, an actress celebrated for her elegance, charisma, and seemingly spotless image.
And my nose is so big.
I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late. Just gotta shut down. We're gonna call an insurance month and just deal with that.
Yeah.
And then,
God.
just kidding.
No, it's true. That's why we hired Jenny Slate too. Our noses are...
Lively's complaint included screen captures of text messages and correspondence that Lively's team allegedly showed orchestrated attempts on the part of Baldoni's PR representative to hurt her reputation in the media as part of a social manipulation campaign.
However, new allegations suggest that Blake Lively's image may not be as flawless as it seems. Former assistant Stephanie Jones has come forward with explosive claims, alleging she was blackmailed into leaking private text messages that could seriously tarnish Lively's carefully maintained public persona. The question is, why would one of Hollywood's most admired actresses allegedly turn to such extreme measures? What secrets lie within those texts? And perhaps most importantly, how is the rest of Hollywood responding to these bombshell accusations? Let's break it all down.
So there was mediation, there was an idea of mediation, and both sides, your side and Blake's, shot it down. Were you open to mediating this, and the other side said no? Because, I don't understand why this could and should end, but it has to be them, right?
Well, I'll comment on what I can. In what was filed with the court before the Rule 26 hearing, the question was asked about whether we would be willing to go to mediation, and whether we were open to that. Our answer to that was no. We're not willing to do anything until Justin is cleared of being called a predator, of being called a sexual harasser.
I got our first motion to dismiss. Yeehaw, here we go. So, I am hoping that our dear BB will actually will do a video on the standard for motions to dismiss under the federal rules, which is 12.6. She's better at that stuff than I am. I'm just going to go straight into the content of the motion. And then if people have questions, I'll follow up, and I'm sure we can both try to follow up on it. But the first motion to dismiss, and this is motion to dismiss all or parts of a complaint that has been filed against them. Each party has the right to do that. And the first one has come from Leslie Sloan and Vision PR. So this is Blake Lively's publicist and that publicist's company. They were included with Blake and with Ryan in Justin Baldoni's suit against them. They were not included in all of the claims, but they were included in some of the claims. And she is asking the court to dismiss all of the ones that she has included for various reasons.
Until recently, Stephanie Jones was a name few outside the industry had ever heard. Unlike Blake Lively, Jones isn't a celebrity, nor has she ever sought the spotlight. She built her career behind the scenes, quietly assisting Hollywood figures and managing the intricacies of their day-to-day lives. Though she remained out of the public eye, Jones was firmly embedded in the inner workings of the entertainment world.
Developments this morning in that heated legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, the former co-stars from It Ends With Us. Now, Baldoni is pointing the finger at his former publicist, blaming her for setting this months-long legal fight into motion. NBC's entertainment correspondent Chloe Molas is here with more. It feels like one lawsuit after another, but this is different.
6 in total, so I'm going to try to break it down for you guys because there is a lot of things going on. So Justin Baldoni's new lawsuit filed on Friday claims that his former publicist, a woman named Stephanie Jones, maliciously passed on data from a former employee's phone, including text messages to Blake Lively's team. Now, an attorney for Baldoni states that this set off a, quote, catastrophic sequence of events, violating the most basic of privacy rights.
Jones claims that during her time working with Hollywood's elite, she was privy to confidential conversations, sensitive documents, and private text exchanges, the kind of secrets the industry goes to great lengths to keep buried. According to her, she never intended to reveal any of it. But everything changed, she says, when she was allegedly backed into a corner by none other than Blake Lively.
The decision to amend our lawsuit was a logical next step due to the overwhelming amount of new proof that has come to light. This fresh evidence corroborates what we knew all along, that due to pure egotistical reasons, Miss Lively and her entire team colluded for months to destroy reputations through a complex web of lies, false accusations, and manipulation of illicitly received communications. The ongoing public interest in this case online has ironically shed light on the undeniable facts pertaining to the New York Times and how heavily Miss Lively and her representatives were not only deeply involved in the attempted takedown and smear campaign of Mr. Baldoni, Wayfair Studios, and their teams, but that they themselves initiated it.
In a recent interview on a popular entertainment podcast, Jones revealed that she was approached by Lively under circumstances she described as intimidating and impossible to refuse. But what could be so sensitive that it allegedly drove Lively to such extreme measures? According to Jones, the answer lies in a series of private text messages that could unravel the actress's carefully maintained public image.
Baldoni's attorney filed an amended lawsuit against Taylor Swift's bestie. In that, he included new allegations and a very detailed timeline that has shown Ryan Reynolds' wife to behave in ways that are despicable. Where I left in the timeline, the shampoo company owner forced Sony, the film distributor, to remove his film buy credit, even though Justin Baldoni directed the movie. And we find out now how even more unprofessional she is. May 2nd, while Lively is holding the film hostage in the edit room, she is simultaneously stalling the film's marketing by refusing to approve key materials, including the trailer release. With less than 3 months until the film's premiere, Sony becomes increasingly alarmed about the delayed rollout of the trailer, a cornerstone of the promotional campaign. In a text exchange between he, his producing partner, a Sony film executive, and a Sony marketing executive who had just spoken with Lively, they informed he of Lively's still escalating demand.
Leaked just weeks ago, the text messages have sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. In the alleged exchanges, Blake Lively appears to discuss manipulating casting decisions, favoring select actors while deliberately rising talents who didn't align with her vision for certain projects. In one particularly damning message, Lively is quoted as saying a promising young actress should be removed from a film, claiming she didn't fit the image Hollywood needs right now.
Adding to the pressure, Lively made a veiled threat, implying she might change her mind about reaching out to Taylor Swift to secure the use of My Tears Ricochet for the trailer if her demands are not met. She is threatening with the dragon! When his producing partner refuses to acquiesce to more time, the Sony marketing executive delivers a sharp and pointed warning. You don't want to play ball? You're going to delay and greatly hurt the movie. Good luck. This stark response signals that Sony too was beginning to apply pressure on Wayfarer, effectively strong-arming them into compliance. Even though Sony had previously said, it's their movie, we're just distributing and investing. The message makes it clear that the studio is growing increasingly frustrated with the situation and is prepared to hold Wayfarer accountable for any negative fallout, adding yet another layer of tension to an already fraught dynamic. And look at this! More receipts.
These messages also reference interactions with powerful Hollywood executives, suggesting that major career decisions were often made through discreet negotiations rather than based on talent alone. If authentic, they could expose a hidden side of the entertainment industry, one where influence acts as currency and celebrities wield far more control behind the scenes than the public typically sees.
Late last night, Justin Baldoni's team filed an amended complaint in their lawsuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, the New York Times, and in it dropped an exhibit that is basically a timeline with a lot more evidence, including text messages between Justin and Ryan.
Baldoni used to be repped by Stephanie Jones's company, Jones Work PR. Working at Steph Jones's company was his lead publicist, Jen Abel. Jen Abel and Stephanie Jones had a very bitter breakup professionally. According to reports, Steph Jones had gotten word that Jen Abel was getting ready to leave and start her own PR agency. She tried to get her to stay, that didn't work out, and then one day, all hell broke loose when she got fired. I'll detail exactly what happened in a moment, but in his just filed complaint, Baldoni alleges that Steph Jones maliciously leaked Jen Abel's text messages to Blake Lively's team, and thus ensuing all the legal drama that I have been covering now for months. Remember, it was actually Steph Jones who filed the very first lawsuit in everything related to the It Ends With Us saga. Back in December, before Blake No Receipts Lively sued Baldoni, Steph Jones sued him for breach of contract amongst other claims. Steph Jones alleges that she had a year-long agreement with Baldoni to represent him and Wayfarer Studios, his production company. And she wants the rest of her.
But this is where the story takes a darker turn. According to Jones, she wasn't the one who wanted to leak the texts in the first place. Instead, she claims that Blake Lively pressured her into doing it, allegedly using threats to force her compliance. Lively, Jones says, was determined to control the narrative before anyone else could expose the messages, effectively making Jones the scapegoat in a larger scheme. She told me it was the only way to manage the fallout, Jones explained, that if I didn't do it, she'd make sure I never worked in this industry again. But why would Lively want to leak the texts on her own terms? Some sources believe it was a form of damage control, a calculated move to position herself as a victim rather than a perpetrator. Others suspect an even deeper, more strategic motive behind the decision.
Baldoni's lawsuit contains pages upon pages of text messages that Friedman told CNN are proof that the text messages published in Lively's initial complaint were doctored and manipulated. He alleges in his complaint that the Times intentionally omitted texts which dispute Lively's narrative. The messages also show Lively's involvement in creative discussions about her character's wardrobe, with one exchange in particular revealing her own desire for more attractive clothing. Baldoni's lawsuit claims that the New York Times reported a biased story, favoring Lively's side and ignoring evidence that contradicted her narrative. The outlet has, however, maintained that the reporting was accurate and thorough. The Gossip Girl star sued her co-star in an 8-page lawsuit, citing multiple misconducts, including inappropriate comments and actions by him and producer Jamie.
As expected, Hollywood insiders haven't stayed quiet. Several anonymous sources have come forward, claiming this isn't the first time Blake Lively has used her influence to shape the narrative. According to a former colleague who requested anonymity, Lively has a pattern of quietly burying unflattering stories about herself, while strategically releasing ones that cast her in a more favorable light. She's a strategist, always has been, said one industry veteran. Every move she makes regarding her public image is calculated and deliberate. Adding to the controversy, some insiders suggest that Stephanie Jones may not be the only one who's felt pressured by Lively. Allegedly, other assistants and industry professionals have had similar experiences but remained silent, afraid that speaking out could jeopardize their careers.
The latest lawsuit paints Stephanie Jones as growing increasingly paranoid and rattled by negative press about her. Press that covered an exodus of clients that were leaving her company and that described her as an erratic screamer. The complaint claims that Steph Jones, who was relying on a psychic, started to plan a revenge campaign against Baldoni and Jen Abel as they both announced their plans to exit Jones Works. So, Jen Abel had announced that she was leaving. 2 days before her planned final day, she went into the office where she was confronted by a physically imposing security guard, a forensic data extraction technical expert, and an attorney sitting at a conference table awash in documents. After being ushered into the conference room, Abel noticed that the security guard was posted just outside its doors, positioned between the conference room and the office entrance, blocking the exit. There, the attorney gestured at the documents and instructed Abel to review and sign them. The attorney stated that Jones Works suspected Abel had retained proprietary information on her personal laptop. Abel was told that Jones Works would have grounds to sue if she did not allow them access. The complaint alleges that Abel, who was confident that her computer contained no such data, turned over the device. She was pressured to relinquish her phone as well. She agreed so long as they would confirm that Jones Works would immediately release her personal cell phone number, which would enable Jones Works to take possession of the physical device without gaining unrestricted access to its contents. The complaint continues. After express confirmation from the Jones Works chief of staff and attorney that they would release the phone number if she went straight to the Verizon store, Abel handed them the phone and was ushered out of the building as her colleagues watched in disbelief.
While these claims remain unverified, they suggest a glimpse into the complex politics of Hollywood, where top stars are seen not only as performers but also as behind-the-scenes power players. Interestingly, Isabella Ferrer, who portrayed young Lily in It Ends With Us, recently described the film set as a comfortable and welcoming environment. Her remarks stand in contrast to Blake Lively's comments about the difficulties she experienced during filming, a discrepancy that has only intensified speculation about the accuracy of Lively's account.
And like whether it's a kiss or whether it's whatever.
I mean, we had a phenomenal intimacy coordinator, Lizzie. She's worked on Bridgerton before, so she was extra careful with us at all times. But also, there was just a lot of communication and check-ins and making sure how are you feeling, how's it going, and a lot of water, making sure we feel physically but also mentally well, just while doing such intense scenes, because it takes a long time. It's a choreographed thing. You have to rehearse the choreography. It's like a dance, you know? Right. It's not just oh, I guess we'll do this and then it'll lead to that. Everything is so specific because it is so intimate that it can get tiring, but it was a great process, honestly, yeah.
Was that your first time going through a process like that?
When I was in school for acting,
So Isabella basically refutes everything, because Blake didn't even just make the accusations that she was uncomfortable. She said that Isabella was, and that Justin was making these inappropriate comments to her during the intimate scenes. And yet Isabella's saying that, no, we had an intimacy coordinator on set and it was super coordinated. You weren't just doing whatever you wanted. So that refutes everything Blake Lively said. What do you think? Does this prove what Blake Lively had said wrong? Of course, she's not talking about Blake's situation. And in Justin Baldoni's new amended complaint, he does say that Blake and Isabella weren't on set together. So how does Blake know how those scenes went?
Even some celebrities have subtly responded to the drama. When asked about the allegations, actress and longtime friend of Lively, Anna Kendrick, reportedly gave a vague reply. Blake is a very smart woman. I think she knows how to handle things better than most. The ambiguous tone of her comment left fans guessing whether it was meant as a show of support or a subtle critique.
Lively said this.
He works on everything I do. I work on everything he does. So his wins, his celebrations are mine, and mine are his.
Well, apparently this is true. And Ryan Reynolds' involvement in her movie A Simple Favor was due to kind of a lie by omission that Blake Lively told director Paul Feig when suggesting using his gin brand to feature in the movie. So gin martinis are kind of a key aspect of the movie A Simple Favor, and during several scenes you can see Aviation American Gin, which is a gin brand created by Ryan Reynolds. So not only was it featured heavily in the movie, but it was also featured in this ad, and Blake did this during the ad as well.
Did you just dump that good booze on the floor, Blake Lively?
Oh, yeah, you just... Come on, you should know about this style.
I know.
We had such a blast making this film, and I think you can see that when you watch it. It really jumps off the screen. That's what it says. Next, when it comes time before the gin, you want to make sure the gin is roasted.
Now the movie can get pretty dark, but in a really fun way with lots of twists and turns.
According to Paul Feig, he was, quote, trying to clear another gin, and Blake's like, hey, Ryan's got this gin that he really liked. He said she really liked the company and everyone involved, but she never said that it was Ryan's brand. She just said that Ryan liked this gin. Was this purposefully misleading to get him to use the gin brand? Possibly. He said, I wouldn't have done it if I didn't like the look of it on screen, but I really thought the bottle looked fantastic. So I honestly didn't even realize the level of involvement that Ryan had in it, but I think it's great. It's a really good.
Meanwhile, Other celebrities like Jennifer Lawrence have been outspoken about Hollywood's culture of secrecy and power struggles. Although she hasn't directly addressed the Lively scandal, she recently remarked in an interview that people in the industry will do anything to stay on top. Many believe this was a veiled reference to the escalating controversy.
Now, also this week, there's been some other developments. This new filing from Baldoni comes just days after Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, filed separate motions to dismiss Baldoni's defamation lawsuit against them. Lively saying that she had a legal right to file her lawsuit and that Baldoni is now retaliating against her.
As expected, public opinion remains divided. On one side, many believe Stephanie Jones is telling the truth and that Blake Lively should be held accountable if she indeed manipulated her way through Hollywood. Some fans have taken to social media, demanding greater transparency and accountability in the industry, arguing that even the most beloved stars shouldn't be exempt from scrutiny, especially since Lively has already been caught lying about having read It Ends With Us and Knowing Colleen Hoover before landing the lead role in the film adaptation.
Not only has Blake Lively lied about reading the book, but she's also lied about knowing Colleen Hoover. And shout out to Elsie, this creator that caught Blake Lively in the Colleen Hoover lie.
I lived under a rock because I hadn't heard of Colleen Hoover before they came to me with this movie. The reason that I was excited to do this movie is that I saw the mention of your name. I was like, oh wow, her voice resonates with people. How she tells stories and what she's telling reaches out and grabs so many people.
We already know that Blake Lively has lied about reading the book because, I'm sorry, if you've ever watched an interview with Blake Lively, she 1000% has not read the book. That is what the interview gives.
That Christy Holt did a great job transcribing and adapting and growing the screenplay from the book. Like she lifted all of the right heart and soul from the book and all of the through lines of the characters and make sure that we're not just making a replica of the book if it isn't always the best and most authentic choice for the moment. Very true adaptation of the book. Like it is very, very, very true to the book, and that is even outside of the book slightly because everybody came to it given the authorship to bring the most honest performance. And then
She says a lot, but at the same time, she says nothing. Blake never gives detailed examples of how that book was brought to life because she does not know the exact details of the book.
On the other hand, a faction of fans refuses to believe the allegations, arguing that Lively's clean record and professional demeanor contradict the notion that she would resort to such extreme measures. Some have even accused Stephanie Jones of fabricating the story for attention or financial gain.
I think we have further proof that Blake Lively has lied about the intimacy coordinator situation on It Ends With Us. And I noted this in the amended lawsuit that he submitted yesterday. I believe it was Friday, January 31st. This is February 1st recording. And I want to just show you this document first, and then I want to show you a couple interviews. Well, one interview and a couple snippets of it that Isabella did, and she was young Lily. The other cast members also unfollowed Baldoni, creating the false impression that Baldoni had done something wrong. On it, always showered on him. For example, Isabella Ferrer, cast as young Lily, exchanged grateful texts with Baldoni during and after her filming stint, which included a number of scenes involving intimacy. Justin sent her a message. You did awesome today. So happy to be working with you. And Isabella says, thank you so much. I'm so excited. Thank you for being a great director and being so wonderful to work with already. Let me know. It looks like something's redacted whenever you need me for anything. Or maybe it was just, can't tell if something was taken out or she just hit enter. Justin Baldoni's so kind. More to come. You are going to kill it. Isabella's loved, so kind. More to come. Isabella, hey, I just got my film developed from when we were shooting. So here's this sweet pic. I also have to say thank you so much for an incredible experience on my first film. I still can't shake the feeling of it all because it truly was life-changing for me. You're such a wonderful, smart, and sincere director, and you created such a comfortable, safe space for me to feel like I could fully step into this role. I couldn't have asked for a more welcoming environment. It will stay with me for the rest of my life. See you soon, whether in the fall or later, if you're doing well X. And then she attached a picture. Justin says, Isabella, wow, what a kind message. He says, you are such a joy and pleasure to work with. Your openness, your raw talent, your kindness, and your excitement made me fall in love with directing again. I'm so excited for your career and for everyone to see you in this film. You have a big career in front of you. Looking forward to seeing you again in September, even if we don't need you to work. Come visit. Tellingly, Ferrer worked with Baldoni when Lively was not on set. It was not until Ferrer spent substantial time with Lively during film promotion set she felt compelled to shun Baldoni in repudiation of her warm words.
A Twitter user commented, Blake Lively is one of the classiest women in Hollywood. I refuse to believe any of these rumors. Another responded, Hollywood thrives on secrets. Just because someone appears kind in public doesn't mean they aren't involved in shady dealings behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Lively has stayed mostly quiet, releasing only a brief statement via her publicist. The allegations are false, defamatory, and will be addressed through legal means. Yet, as history has shown, silence in Hollywood can sometimes say more than words ever could.
Lively alleges that Baldoni and Heath reportedly and repeatedly entered her trailer uninvited, even during private moments, and that they touched others on set in a way that made her feel uncomfortable. Now, Justin denies the allegations in his lawsuit. In another text exchange, Justin's legal team appears to be contesting Blake Lively's claim that her intimate scenes were unscripted and unplanned. Justin's evidence allegedly shows that an intimacy coordinator was present on set, but Blake reportedly delayed meeting them until filming even began. Now, he further disputes Blake's claims about incidents such as, him and Jamie entering the trailer, arguing that these, actions were not inappropriate. And according to Justin, Blake was at ease with their presence and even invited him to rehearse lines while she was feeding her child. He also clarified that an incident where Jamie allegedly saw Blake shirtless was misrepresented. She was actually covered, and Jamie had knocked and been invited in for a meeting. Baldoni's lawyer wrote, "Both Heath and Baldoni have children and are comfortable around feeding mothers, and Lively seemed equally comfortable. In fact, Baldoni's wife co-founded a company that makes a feeding garment for babies, a prototype that originated with his mother when he was a baby."
What's next in this unfolding drama? Will Blake Lively pursue legal action against Jones for defamation, or will the scandal quietly fade away as Hollywood shifts its attention to the next controversy? Meanwhile, Stephanie Jones may have risked her career by speaking out. Whether she will be celebrated as a whistleblower or dismissed as a troublemaker is yet to be determined.
Attorney for Baldoni states that this set off a, quote, catastrophic sequence of events, violating the most basic of privacy rights. The competing lawsuits, now 6 in all, gained attention in December, with Lively's lawsuit against Baldoni for harassment and an alleged smear campaign perpetrated by Baldoni and his publicity team. Jones has also sued Baldoni, claiming he and his publicity team conspired to harm her and steal her clients in conjunction with their efforts to allegedly launch a smear campaign against Lively. Now, an accusation that the publicists working with Baldoni have repeatedly denied. And in a statement to NBC News about Baldoni's latest lawsuit against her, Jones's attorney said this in part, quote, "Having no facts or evidence, we see a familiar playbook. Smear our client, culminating in the work of fiction masquerading as the counterclaims that were filed."
One thing is clear. This scandal has sparked crucial conversations about power, influence, and secrecy in Hollywood. Whether the allegations are true or not, it serves as a reminder that in an industry built on illusions, the truth is often far more complicated than it appears. So, what do you think? Is Blake Lively really guilty of these accusations? Or is Stephanie Jones just another former assistant seeking attention? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth looks at Hollywood's biggest scandals. Until next time, stay curious because in Hollywood, truth is often more dramatic than fiction.